Elon Musk said, "I'm nauseatingly pro-American. I would have come here from any country. The US is where great things are possible." While Elon was born in South Africa and even spent some time studying in Canada, he always wanted to go to the land of opportunity and innovation. Like many American academics, he did rack up some student debt, but eventually he started Zip2 with $2,500 and the rest is history. Hi, I'm Jonathan and I'm an investor in Tesla stock. I'm not here to give you financial advice, so please do your own research. I'm here to share with you about some things that I've learned about this innovative and unique company called Tesla. Of course, how we're going to do that is jump into some daily tweets of the Tesla community, so let's go and see what those smart people are saying today. So our first tweet comes from the Tasmanian blog. It says that SpaceX Starlink satellite internet granted Canada approval for operation. And that's awesome. If you know anything about Canadian telecommunications, then you know it's super. We are regularly priced in the upper echelons of telecommunications and it's almost unfair. Now it is unfair because in Canada we have an oligopoly. It's essentially only 3 Canadian companies that are fighting for all the consumers in Canada. Now of course we don't have as many people here in Canada versus the States, but nonetheless we are still stuck with what we have and we don't really have options. So the Canadian government actually protects these companies from competition, so it's actually really refreshing to see that Starlink may break the mold. Our next tweet comes from Drive Tesla Canada. Almost 1 year to the day after NYC approved the Model 3 to be used as a taxi, the first one has started taking fares. So that's pretty cool. You can see that this is a great way for taxis to be involved. Now, of course, Tesla might launch their own robo-taxi network, and we can see how this could be a stepping stone to bigger things. Our next tweet comes from Eva Fox. She says, breaking news, Tesla Giga Shanghai Model Y production starts by the end of November 2020 to target 5,000 weekly production in 2021. Now, as you know, back in October 2020, they tried to get 3 gigapresses in there to start to ramp up the production of these vehicles. On November 6th, there's a completely disguised car as seen here. On November 6th, there was actually a car seen parked outside the Shanghai factory, and it looked like the Model Y. Ultimately, if everything goes well, by the end of 2021, Giga Shanghai alone could produce 500,000 vehicles per year. Next, Paul Graham says, Teslas aren't just electric vehicles, they are software cars. From the way legacy automakers phrase their announcements about switching to electric, it sounds like they still haven't grasped that. And I agree with Paul. Recently, you have maybe heard that Toyota came out and said, Tesla hasn't even made a legitimate business model in the real world. And I laugh at that because they just don't get it. Tesla is not in the business of only building vehicles, they're building software for these vehicles. And likely in the future, many of these automakers will be reliant on the software that Tesla is coming up with to actually fuel their vehicles. Now, of course, some of these legacy automakers are so short-sighted. They only look at the next quarter or the next year. They don't think about 5 to 10 years later. Tesla isn't limited by the driver. They are building out full self-driving. I doubt that Toyota is even thinking about something like that right now. And of course, one fallacy I do think that these legacy automakers are thinking is that what's worked in the past will always continue to work in the future. Now, our next tweet, Ray says that great news, Tesla China is expanding its mobile service team to cover 151 cities in 24 provinces, municipalities, and autonomous regions. Currently, Tesla is the only automaker that operates mobile service in China. Once again, Tesla is leading the way in how they approach their business. First, they had decentralized dealerships in the sense that they don't have dealerships. And next, you can actually get your service done, not going to a auto shop, but them coming to you. Now, this is another example of how Tesla shows its leadership in the auto industry. First, it was decentralizing the whole purchasing model, and now it's decentralizing the entire repair model. So as Ray said, I actually didn't know that Tesla was the only automaker in China to do this because it seems like a really natural progression for Tesla. They love to vertically integrate, and this is just another way for them to keep everything in-house and build another business on the side. I think time and time again, Tesla has shown that they put the customer first. And to be able to have your vehicle serviced at your convenience in your location, that's a big deal. And so our next tweet comes from Tesla the Big Long. He says that the Giga Berlin is getting closer to production. Now he links a YouTube video there, but also if you take a look at the photos, that's a crazy pace. I know they only broke ground, I think in June 2020, and it looks like majority of it's already up, and I do know that apparently they do want to get the first Model Ys out by first quarter 2021, which is an incredible breakneck speed. Our final tweet of the day comes from Vincent. He says that Tesla and its innovation machine are moving targets that will likely continue to elude legacy auto. Now he cites a chart made by Sam Corris at ARK Invest, and in it, the vertical axis shows the EPA range, which is kind of the efficiency, and then on the horizontal axis, it shows performance in terms of 0 to 60 in how many seconds. Now this chart is actually really telling. Now of course we know that Porsche came out with an EV that is extremely high performance. It's even better than the Model 3 and there's no contest on that front. Now what they've traded off instead is to have that long range that the Model 3 has. Now conversely, you have something like a Hyundai Ioniq, which is incredibly efficient, but has terrible performance. They've traded off performance and instead they can push high ranges, but 0 to 60 in like 8 seconds or something like that. So one outlier that you may notice on this chart are the Tesla Model 3s. First of all, it's really high performance for what it is. Two, they still have extremely high efficiency ratings compared to the high performance vehicles like the Porsche. And finally, for what you pay for, the Model 3 gives you way more value. Finally, let's talk about value. The Porsche Taycan is actually starting at $120,000 Canadian. The Model 3 base value is $50,000. That's less than half price. For what I pay for, the Model 3 gives me way more value. And so in both cases, Tesla hasn't given up on performance, but they certainly haven't given up on efficiency and pricing value as well. So that's it for today's wrap up. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. And if there's any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and have a great rest of the weekend, everyone. Bye.